first question will be for the Greens at the very end. We have Barbara Shaw and we have Evelyn Roulet. If you guys are ready to go, I'll ask the first question and we'll get your answers, and then we'll get a spokesperson from the CLP, we'll hear from the Independents, we'll hear from First Nations, and we'll hear from Labor. Right, so the first question is this one: police support and response time. Providing adequate police personnel has been an ongoing issue in regional Australia for the past 2 years. Centralised call centres have proven to be responsible for poor response time in attending crime scenes. Many crimes go unreported as the community feel they are not supported. What strategies do you have planned to address the support the police and the community need, and what law and order policies will you implement? So we get the microphone down to Evelyn Roulet if you'd like to speak, and you've got 90 seconds to go.
To have a response time, we believe that we should have a response centre in Alice Springs. Darwin is too far. It's good, but too far. And second, to have a better response time, obviously we must have less crime. So the first is lobby to have a response centre in Alice Springs, and then work all together to try to stop. We can never stop crime, but at least put it a bit lower.
Okay, thanks for your response, Evelyn. I meant to say as well that I'll ding the bell there once we get to 90 seconds, but you've come under, so well done. We'll move now further along the panel, and we get a spokesperson from the CLP. Would you like the question again, or are you happy?
No, that's all right. Thanks, Rowan. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to read some of this from our policy here. I think it's far too important. It's far too important of a question, an issue, for me to omit stuff. I can fill this within 90 seconds. It's been a key platform of the Country Liberals policing in Central Australia and indeed across the Northern Territory. Our policy is called Strengthening the Front Line. We believe it's been under-resourced for a number of years, and communities such as Alice Springs have been feeling the brunt of it. We've committed to put 100 extra police on the streets. We'll make police patrols at night a priority with proper resourcing, something that's been sadly lacking. We'll also undergo an independent audit of Northern Territory police resources. I think we need to know where our police resources are being spent and where they need to be upgraded. We'll improve career advancement for our local officers. As you know, a lot of police are being promoted up the chain, but they're only getting so far. At the moment, we have a situation where both our two senior police, the Deputy and the Commissioner of Interstate, we believe that our police are as good as anyone else across Australia, and they deserve to be given that recognition through career advancement and promotion. Communications through dedicated call centres. We agree with Evelyn that certainly as far as the regional calls go, the zero calls in Central Australia should be at the coalface that is locally. And improve transparency too, Rowan, may I say, by releasing the quarterly crime stats back again.
Okay. Thanks, Matt Conlon. That's your 90 seconds. Moving on to Phil Walcott, who's standing as an independent in the seat of Greater X. Phil, when you're ready.
Thanks, Rowan. Firstly, everybody, welcome to Greater X. And I too would like to acknowledge the people of Central Australia. So, with regard to the policing and response time, I guess I had a bit of a problem with the question because it was saying that things were going unreported, so I guess I wasn't quite sure how we worked out if things were going unreported, whether we knew that they were actually happening. We need to regionalise the police call centre back into Alice Springs to improve response time, dispatch a response, and then get background information. A lot of people complain that there's all this red tape questioning that goes on over the phone as a crime is being perpetrated.
Phil, I'll just get you to pull the mic back just slightly, if you don't mind. Yeah, sorry. Continue.
All right, thank you. The police could then track the phone calls, but dispatch a response and then get some of that background information. Right? Under the underpinning social issues are the real problem here. We have to treat the problem, not punish the crime. We've really got to think about this a little bit differently for things to improve. We need to strengthen the skills and the vigilance of the people in the community. I mean, we are all responsible members of the community. Those of us who want to be able to assist and help, let's do that. Let's assist the police in keeping each other safe, and administrative staff to take the calls and do the paperwork, let police do the policing.
All right, thank you, Phil. Do you want to try another microphone? Yes, let's kill that other one. All right, no problem. Colin Furphy standing as an independent seat of Brayley, and Colin, you can take it away.
All right, well, I believe we need to set up a local O call centre, fund more police officer positions, and possibly give police auxiliaries more authority. With 50% of the Northern Territory Police Force being probationary, I believe we need to provide more incentive to employ or contract experienced officers from interstate who can help train and mentor our probationary officers. I'll definitely be standing for more youth diversion officers. Currently we have one youth diversion officer for the entire Central Australia region. This officer sits in an office with 6 empty desks which belong to the colleagues he does not have. How can we only have one youth diversion officer when a good percentage of our crime comes from youth? I stand strongly for setting up and restoring more preventative, proactive youth diversion programs and community education programs that will help lower crime in the future. Such programs have just recently had funding completely cut thanks to the Northern Territory Police Commissioner and our current government. If such programs are funded in the future, we will have a safer community with a lower, less urgent need for more police support and better police response times.
Okay, thank you, Colin Furphy. Let's move on now to the First Nations, and Eden Baxter is saying First Nations in the seat of Araluen. Eden, you can take it away.
Thanks, Rowan. Firstly, I'd like to say that centralised call centres, having had my car stolen the last 6 months, it's quite an experience to go through, to have to come to terms with that loss. And as it happened in the evening, I actually was out on the road and I saw my car go flying past, and I started following it and got on the phone and I called the police centre and I said, see my car's right in front of me, send some cops out, let's get it going. And they said, where are you exactly, sir? And I said, I'm in the gap. And they said, where's the gap? And I thought to myself, gee, that's a pretty sad state of affairs. And I'm sure on a board level, it is pragmatic, the funding considerations. But as a general statement, I'd just like to add to this, I think what we really need to do is just take a really good look at the whole approach to law and order and police resourcing in general. How long are we going to go around the same circles? How long are we going to have the highest police presence in Australia, in a town? How long are we going to have a really high rate of incarcerated Aboriginal people comparative to other people in this region? And we can keep talking about adding more resources and putting more police because it sounds good and it's potentially goes down well with the voters, but come on, let's have a really good hard look at it and look at what we can do in the long term to make a real change. One thing in particular, I've got time, Rowan, is to say that we're putting out a policy as a First Nations to encourage thought on a territory service program, which encourages young people to get involved with a program that will help them learn skills across the region, across the territory, and hopefully that will go a long way to providing potentially a diversionary support pathway, but also just building a bit of pride and a different approach in the scheme of things.
Okay, Eden Baxter, thanks very much. We now move to Labor. Deborah Rock is standing for the seat of Brayley with Labor. Deb, you can take it away.
Thank you, good evening everyone. Thank you, Kay, for organising tonight. Look, firstly I'd like to start by saying it's a fallacy that there's any link between response times and the start of the call centre. It's a lot of people think that, and I acknowledge that at the beginning of the call centre coming into place, that there were a few hiccups, there were a few little problems along the way, but they've been worked out long ago. The call centre was put together in response to an enormous difficulty finding enough auxiliary staff here in Alice Springs and keeping them employed here, and it's turned out to be a good solution. This CLP regularly complain about it, but anyone who's visited the call centre, and I know that the current member for Brayley has been up there and had a look at it himself, once anybody's been through, they tend to shut up and stop complaining about the place. It's working very, very well. It's very high tech. The other thing I'd like to say is that I acknowledge that there's a lot of talk in town. Everybody has their own feelings about whether or not we have enough police here, and we are responding to that. The Labor government, when it was in its first term in 2003, we did an independent review of the policing here in the Northern Territory. Prior to that, in the last term of the CLP, not a single police had been hired. There had not been a single extra personnel hired. We did the review in 2003, and in response to that, 400 extra police were added to the force here. Now, Given there's a lot of talk around town at the moment about policing, we think it's timely to do a review again. The last review was conducted by Jim O'Sullivan, the ex-Queensland Police Commissioner, and we've got him back in, and that review is commencing now, and it's underway, and we will be listening to the responses of that. I would like, okay, I'd just like
the... 90 seconds. You gotta be strict, otherwise we'll be here all night. Yeah.